Richmond versus Collingwood coming up tomorrow on Wednesday night, but we thought, you know what, let's try and pick the best 23 for that game that's coming up, because the teams aren't out yet when we did this on Monday night. So EJ, CB and I thought we would put our collective heads together to see if we could work out what a best 23 could be against the Pies. Now, we're assuming that we're going to be going into this game a lot more experienced, a bit more of a representation of what we're going to see in round one. So you will see some more experienced names in there. Obviously, we've not included Prestia on the back of the news today that he'll miss a few games with the Achilles soreness. The other notable absentee is Tom Brown. Now, Tom Brown obviously didn't play against West Coast, but we just haven't heard much about what he's doing in that space, if he's fit and available or if he's been managed through. Like, we just don't know. So we left him off, but I think it's just for the sake of context, if Tom Brown is fit and available to play in this game against Collingwood, he will be starting on the field almost 1,000% guaranteed. That's how confident I am in that. But we haven't got him on here because we just don't know what his situation is. Now, the other inclusion that might spark some interest is Josh Smiley. Now, we had a few people in our live chat on Monday night who said they had spoken to a couple of people at the club, so maybe they were at training or something like that. And quite a number of different people had heard that Smiley is a very good chance for this game against Collingwood, as was Luke Traynor. So we've included both of them as well, just for context sake. That obviously may change depending with the final lineups. We're just guessing and trying to put forward a team that we would hope to see. But anyway, with that said, before we get stuck into it, make sure if you like the Richmond content, hit subscribe and like the video and share it around. It really helps us out and bumps the ratings up and gets us in front of other people's faces, which is awesome. So we thank you for the love and support. With that said though, let's take a look at the best 23 that EJ, CB and I come up with for the game against Collingwood on Wednesday night. Okay, so here's the team that we put forward for the game against the Magpies. As I said, the game's on Wednesday night. I think it's 7:10 at Icon Park. It'll be on KO, Foxtel, all the rest of it. It's the official practice match, so it should be the full 4 quarters. Now, the other thing I should say as well, that we're all assuming there's going to be a very large extended interchange. So I think Essendon and Geelong might have 8 extra players named. So on that basis, you're still probably going to see players like Sims, Fawcett, Gray, Samson Ryan, even like players like that are probably still going to get a run through on the back of it being an extended bench. But that being pushed to one side, this is the side that we've gone with for the game against Collingwood. Nathan Broad, Ben Miller, Nick Vlaston, Luke Traynor, Jacob Blight and Jaden Short for the back 6. Now, Miller would probably in this instance double up as the backup ruckman as well, especially if you look down at the bench, we've got Kaczynski on there who would take Miller's spot while Miller rucked while Nankervis was off. So that's kind of your 3-way rotation for the rucking. And this is also, you know, if Samson Ryan and Oliver Hayes-Brown or someone like that plays on the extended bench, then you've solved that issue anyway. So it'll get solved one way or another. But if this was just the only players to play this game, Miller would be our backup ruckman in this instance. Some experienced names welcoming back there. And we thought if Trainor's going to play, how nice would it be to slot him in on halfback amongst some experienced players in Broad, Vlaston and Short that he can sort of take a bit from, which would be good. So hopefully that happens. On the wings, we've gone with Banks and Sonzi. Banks we've kind of had earmarked for a wing spot for a little while now. And Sonzi obviously played on the wing in that West Coast game. And in the absence of Hugo Ralph-Smith, I think it'd be good to give him another crack at it. I'd still like to see him get a few midfield minutes as well, the centre bounce. I'm just not sure how you juggle that and how you make it work. But I think for the sake of this game that we might see Sonzi on a wing. EJ did suggest, though, that Camden McIntosh could easily slip into his old wing role as well. So that could be a watch this space too. Jacob Hopper, we've got starting in the centre. He's had a super pre-season, and him being fit and firing, hopefully we can see some really good results from him starting from this Collingwood game. Half forward line, or the full forward, the forward 6 should we call it. Ryan Mansell, Jacob Bauer, Seth Campbell, Rioli Jr., Lynch and Armstrong. So look, Mansell we think is a lock there. Seth Campbell we think is a lock at half forward as well, but don't be surprised to see him get some midfield rotation minutes as well. Maybe onto the wing when Sonzi's off the ground. We kind of saw that happen against West Coast. I think we're going to see a better game from Seth Campbell this week than the West Coast game. Just having that additional experience support around him, I think is going to help elevate to another level. Similar to Bauer. Now, there was kind of a bit of arguments about the Bauer one on the live show, which was quite entertaining to watch. He didn't shoot the lights out against West Coast, it must be said, but we think that with Tom Lynch there as the main forward, that that's hopefully going to only improve Bauer. and give him a better chance to perform. So that's what we're kind of basing it on. Harry Armstrong, well, he was meant to play against West Coast, but obviously didn't jump on the plane because he was crook. It sounds like he's back to being fit and healthy again now, so we would love to see him playing against the Magpies, so we've got him in there. And Rioli Jr. on the back of his game for the All-Stars against Freo, was showing some good signs with chasing and tackling and pressure. He was effective with his disposal, so we'd love to see him start off in the forward pocket, but also get some midfield minutes there too. I think that's got to be a natural progression for him in 2025. In the ruck, we've gone with Toby Nankervis, Rover, Timmy Taranto, Ruck Rover, Jack Ross. Now again, Ross didn't have the best of games last week against West Coast, but I kind of feel like it's because I don't know if he was equipped or ready enough to step up to be the absolute main man in a midfield full of relative youngsters. So I think when he's blended in with Taranto and Hopper, I think he's going to look a lot better. So I'm fully expecting Jack Ross to have a really big bounce back game against the Magpies. And on the bench, we've gone with Josh Smiley, Kane McAuliffe, Caleb Smith, Kazitsky, and Alga. So Smiley, like I said, we've heard some news that he could be a good chance to play in this Collingwood game. Would love to see it happen. And if he is playing, he'll no doubt see some forward midfield time. It'd just be good to see him out in the park. Kane McAuliffe obviously missed the West Coast game being in the concussion protocol, but he's through that now. So assuming that there's no other niggles in play, I would fully expect him to be on the park. Alga, I thought, had a decent showing against West Coast. It felt like an almost game, but I thought he did more than enough to have another crack this week. Smith, I thought, was one of our better players on the half-back line, so it'd be good to see him rotate with Trainer. And Kazitsky, like we said at the start, he would be part of the rotation to play in defence while Miller was back up rucking when Nank's off the ground. So there you go. That is our team to take on Collingwood for Wednesday night. We picked this on Monday night, so there's no teams available yet. It's just all guesswork and what we want to see, I guess, combined with what we might see in round one. So a bit of a blend of youth and experience, but definitely a more experienced flavour than what we had against West Coast. And you would like to think with a team like this on paper that we should see some more aggressive and fast-flowing football. We saw it in small glimpses against West Coast. We've seen it a hell of a lot on training videos. So now it's time to start translating that into actual four-quarter performances. And look, it may not happen across the whole four quarters, but you want to see it for larger chunks and just to be able to defend well when we need to defend well. And whatever the score is, it really doesn't matter too much. You just want to see an improvement from the West Coast game. You want to see the experienced guys setting the example and the young guys bringing that vibrance, enthusiasm, and we'll just see where it takes us. So that is the team. Let us know in the comments below what you think. Who would you have in? Who's out? Who did we miss? I know McIntosh was one that we probably could have included as well. But yeah, that was just our thoughts. But we're keen to hear what everyone else is thinking in the comments below. And make sure you like and subscribe for more Richmond content. We will see you for the next video. Go Tigers.